What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Vinny's Corner. I'm your host, Vinny, and I always do this the wrong way, but that's my guest. There it is. That's my guest, Austin, guest host for the day. A lot of you guys from X know him already. What's going on, brother? How are you?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
Not much, man. How are we doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're doing good. So regular stuff. I'm just going to jump onto X real quick before we jump into anything and get this shared to everybody, and then we'll rock and roll. It's kind of funny that I do things this way, but, I'm still a little technologically not advanced. There we go. At 41, I should be better at this stuff than I am, but, whatever. It is what it is. Elite content only, blah, 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 blah. Okay, cool. I think that's enough, people. We are live. Boom, done. Okay. There's my guy, Keegan. What's up, brother? How are you doing tonight? So, listen, where we left off last week, we were kind of talking about the Super Bowl, some of the fights that are coming up. So, I just wanted to let everybody know this weekend, Friday night, especially if you don't have a Valentine that you've got to worry about. I know a lot of us do, but a lot of us do not. If you don't, Keyshawn Davis has got his first opportunity at a world title. He's going for the WBC title belt against Dennis Berinchuk. So there was kind of like a big thing going on today at the press conference there. During the press conference, or I guess yesterday, supposedly Berinchuk sent a package to Keyshawn Davis. Now, Keyshawn's a black guy from Virginia, right? He's an American dude. He sent him a package of watermelon and bananas.
Ooh.
So hectic. And this guy Berinchuk is like a Ukrainian or something. So hectic. So the video is kind of wild, but he calls him out at it at the press conference. Essentially, Berinchuk denies that he can write or read or anything in English. He's like, it wasn't for me. Somebody's trying to do this with bad intentions, whatever. Here's the point. Keyshawn is mad. This is his first title shot, and the guy is all about his business. So it's going to be a really good fight. The fight's going to, this is top-ranked boxing, so it's going to be on ESPN+, and they're fighting at the Garden. So it's called the Theater at MSG. It's like the smaller theater at MSG. So it should be an interesting one. And there's a couple of other cool fights on the card. I'm not going to delve too far into it. If you're interested in a title fight on Friday night and you don't have anything for the holiday, Valentine's Day, then, do what you got to do. Check out the fights. They should be a good one. Okay, perfect. So you can probably see the comments over there, Austin. Speaking of fighting, Sean Strickland did not look good. So, Keegan, thank you for the perfect segue right into UFC 312. Austin, what were your thoughts on that fight? Dricus du Plessis against Sean Strickland, rematch for the belt.
I don't know. I thought Strickland was going to fight a lot better than he did. He has been talking crazy for as long as he had the title the first time and then up to this fight. And he just got destroyed. I mean, du Plessis just.
It was definitely not what I expected. Not at all what I expected, to say the very least. Okay, boom. There we go. I was trying to get like the screen right. Now we're right. Dricus looked overly prepared for the guy. There was really nothing new. Like, you're not going to get a better chance than Strickland got. So, like, I don't expect that, like, this is going to go somewhere from here, kind of thing. Strickland's just not that person anymore. Like, the person he portrays, that is like that's gone. You know what I mean? In the ring,
no,
that doesn't go against a guy like Dricus, who's ultra jacked, who's ultra fit, and who's ultra prepared.
He's been dominant so far. I'm excited to see who he's going to fight next. So far, he's been dominant.
So there's rumor that his next fight is going to be against Khamzat Chimaev, which, woo, yeah, like that's what everyone who hears it goes, oh, whoa, Chimaev? Yeah, that's a good one.
If he can stay healthy, I think. I mean, he deserves it. Everybody he fights, he destroys.
Dude, I think. Sorry, let me just throw my little nicotine pouch in. But like honestly, I think Chimaev is probably the most dangerous person in that weight class. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he won, but at the same time, I'm kind of through with going against or betting against Dricus. He's been nothing but a stud in his last 5 to 8 fights. He's been stellar.
Like, why would she?
Was that?
Underdog? Kind of like the Zhang Wei, like the ladies fight, the title fight beforehand. Like, why was she even the underdog in the first place?
And so that was the next one I wanted to hop to. So I'm glad you jumped on that. Zhang Wei Li. A lot of people, everyone listed her as the underdog. Every sports book in the world. Now, Tatiana Suarez, very good fighter. Dealt with tons of injuries in the last 8 years, give or take. So, was she the same person? I don't know. But the level of dominance that Zhang Wei Li put on was like, that was a clinic. There was no point in that fight where it was like, could she lose this? Like, she completely owned it the entire fight.
No, it was start to finish domination. I don't remember the exact stats. I was looking at it after the fight and then earlier today, and it was like 230 for 270 shots landed. Like, she was not missing punches. She was on the ground.
Oh, the stand-up game wasn't close at all. And then once she showed that Tatiana couldn't take her down, after Tatiana had that first takedown early, and I was like, uh-oh, this could go different. And then she just shut it down. It was like, all right, no more of that. And it was like her sprawl, her entire takedown defense was stellar. No other way to say it. She's probably the best female fighter in the world right now.
I was gonna ask, do you think she's gonna fight Valentina, or you think they'll fight, or no? Or
I guess there's a little size difference, but it just kind of like it makes sense. You know what I mean? So he said, is it possible for Austin to turn up his mic? I don't know.
Potentially. Give me a sec.
Just talk loud.
Yeah, is that better? Can they hear me better?
Yes, much better. You're way clearer. Way clearer.
Perfect.
So I'm not too sure, but like it'll be interesting to see what the UFC does with her next, because like, if you watched the fight Saturday, like right now, I can't think of a female where I'm like, oh, she could beat her. No. Like, I think that Zhang can beat anybody.
It's kind of like she's kind of turning into Nunez in a way where, like, every time she goes to the ring, like, even though she wasn't, like, she should be favored.
Dude, I don't know. We're going to see what happens, though. No question about that. So, kind of moving along, then. This Sunday was Super Bowl 59, I believe, right? Is that the right number?
I think so, yeah. Maybe 58, but either way.
Kind of a tough one, right? Like, if you were listening to like sports radio, most sports radio this whole week would be talking football, but the Super Bowl was such a shellacking that there's really nothing to be said. It's just like, the Chiefs got completely run over. They got dominated in every aspect of the ball.
Yeah, it was bad.
What was your like highlight of the Super Bowl? Was there anything that you liked about it?
I wanted the Eagles to win, but I also wanted a good game. I just feel like it was like start to finish. Like, as soon as Mahomes threw his first interception, Chiefs had like 20 total yards in the first half. They just couldn't move the ball. They couldn't do anything. It was just
he didn't throw an interception for November, December, or January. That was his first interception since before Halloween. No. He had 2 interceptions from Halloween all the way until that day. He had 2 interceptions the whole time, and he threw more interceptions in that game than he threw in the last 8 weeks of football.
Jeez.
It was like, dude. So I'm in a weird place with this, right? I'm a Giants fan. Everybody knows that. So obviously I was not going to root for the Eagles. That being said, as just like a pure fan of football, NFC East football is my favorite football. And I'm very happy to see yet another Super Bowl win for our division. So like I can never cheer for the Eagles, but I'm not mad that they won it.
No,
You know?
I thought going into the game, the Eagles had the better team all around. I mean, they proved it on the field, and I think that NFC East is going to remain the best division in football with the emergence of the Commanders with Daniels. The Giants are going to get back to that competing. I know they had a couple down years, but I mean, they got a top 3 pick. They're going to get their quarterback. Like, they're going to be fine. They have weapons already on the offensive end. They're not in bad shape defensively. So I think the NFC East is going to be a hard division.
Yeah, you know what? I agree. A lot of people will say AFC North, NFC North. It's not that I don't think those are good divisions. I just like I think the record over the years kind of speaks for itself. So here's like the real question, I think. Do you think the Eagles can go back to back? Because like it's a very infrequent thing in NFL history, right? That teams, repeat. It's usually a new Super Bowl winner every year, right? And then there's like, the anomaly here. It's happened 6 or 7 times, right? What do you think?
I think they can. It's going to be hard. There's a lot of good teams. The 49ers going to be healthy next year. The Eagles are losing Sweat. They're losing Williams unless they sign him back on the D-line. I mean, they're losing some pieces they're going to have to replace through the draft or free agency, but Hurts is 26, Brown's like 28, Barkley's still in his prime clearly. So I mean, their pieces aren't going anywhere that are like really important to their team. So I mean,
that's the thing. Like if they can keep this core team together, like I feel like they just hit their stride. You know what I mean? They're a young team. The average player on that team is in their 20s, and it's for me like I'm 41, right? So growing up watching football for me was big lines, smash mouth, running game football. The Eagles brought it back to like late 80s, 1990s football. It was awesome to see. Now I'm kind of wondering, like, do teams watch this and go, oh, you know what? We got to retool. We need a bigger line. We need a better running back. Like, do teams start to take it back to the 90s style of football and get away from this pass-heavy game that we've grown to know?
I could see it. In general, through the whole season, like I feel like every team's passing yards were down. There were like obviously the anomalies like Joe Burrow and teams that had no rushing offense threw for a lot of yards, but a lot of teams were more run heavy this year. I feel like that is the trend, and clearly it works. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl doing it. I mean, time of possession is crucial, helps your defense rest. I mean, I wouldn't mind to see it.
Dude, this was what they call this year, the year of the renaissance of the running back or something to that effect. They were saying all over like ESPN this season. What does this say? The only good thing to come out of that game was the Packers still being the only team. The Packers three-peated prior to the Super Bowl era. That's only 16 teams, not 32. Not the same thing. I'm sorry. Like I don't want to sound like a jerk. I know a lot of Packers fans get upset with me because I'm like, no, like I don't even look at championships before the Super Bowl era. I don't care. The Giants have more too, but like those don't matter to me. The Super Bowl era, 30, 32 teams. That's what I look at. It still happened. You're right. It did.
Like they were saying last night, like they were saying at the game when it was a blowout, like, yeah, the Eagles won, but when the season starts next year, just like the Chiefs, like all 32 teams are going to be 0-0, starts back up. Yeah, obviously teams have better rosters than the other teams, but you still have to go out and perform. Injuries happen. Like anybody can win. I mean, 2019, 2020, the Jags were in the AFC title game and almost beat Brady. So it's like
that's what I love about the NFL. Like, so if you look at and because of the salary cap, because of the level of physicality and injury, this league has more parity in it than any other major sport in America. So like I love that about football. Like the repeating would have almost made a mockery of how much parity they've tried to put into this league. So I'm not upset about that at all.
Yeah, the Chiefs, I think, they have some things they're going to have to fix. The O-line looks shaky, to say the least, in the Super Bowl. Travis Kelce's aging. He had a down year. I mean, they don't really have a real weapon outside of Worthy. I mean, their defense is getting old. Chris Jones is getting up there in age.
So I don't know exactly what the numbers are, and I'm not going to try and look it up right now, but there's an interesting stat out there. Like the team performs dramatically better when Hollywood Brown is on the field. Like their overall scoring, and I think that's why, because it opens up the field more. They've got that other weapon. Hopkins he made a little splash to start, but he was pretty much irrelevant for them. He was kind of there to just get that ring, and then it didn't work out. So, I don't even know if they're going to have him next year, to be honest. Kelce is done. I don't know. Listen, Keegan, I'll tell you what, right? As much as I think Kelce there's nothing wrong with him retiring. You can't show up in a Dirk Diggler leisure suit to Super Bowl 59, get your ass handed to you, and then retire. Not a chance. Like, he's got to come back and get it in blood. Like, I don't know, you know what I mean? Like, he showed up looking like he's like, I was like, what is this, Saturday Night Fever? Bro, listen, at some point in my life, that's some shit I would have done. Pardon me. But, seriously, though, you can't, when you show up like that, that's telling everyone that sees you walking into the game that in your mind, you won.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like, in your mind, you already won this game, and they got cooked. It's not It's not like there was a point that game was competitive, that we were like, oh, here comes Mahomes. Like,
I thought many times, oh yeah, like it's 17-0, no big deal. Then he throws that pick. I'm like, oh, 24-0. I mean, I saw with Brady. Maybe Mahomes is different. And then it was like 40-6 with 7 minutes left, and I was like, this is bad.
Well, so right, that's the thing. If you weren't watching the game, and I assume most of America was, you see what it said, and it's like 22-40 or whatever, right? It sounds like it wasn't a complete shellacking. But in the reality, when you know that it was really 40-6 until there was about 5-6 minutes left in that game, like at no point in time was that that was one of the worst Super Bowls I've ever watched. Unless you're an Eagles fan, it just wasn't competitive. It was not cool to watch.
No, it was zero competition. It never felt like after the first quarter the Chiefs were in the game, like they could not stop the Eagles on offense. Everything they ran worked. I mean, it was just blowout.
Dude, I'll be honest, right? In this last 5 years, give or take, if you just think about it, right, the worst, okay, maybe when Brady played them in the Super Bowl, right? They lost that game, but it wasn't like a beatdown. I haven't seen the Chiefs not be competitive against anyone. Like,
it would have to be the Brady Super Bowl. I mean, every other game they lose, they're in at least, or it's like a last second field goal or something like that. They just didn't look like themselves. Mahomes looked awful, like the worst I've ever seen him look ever. Kelce was dropping passes. I mean,
dude, honestly, like, it was listen, people were literally questioning, before the game, it was like, is he the greatest quarterback ever? By the time you got to ESPN Sports Radio on Monday, they were like, is this guy even better than Montana? Like,
yeah, that's how drastic it was. That's how bad of a game he played. That's how bad the Chiefs looked. because the
It
whole
was
league,
listen, man. It was a shocker. It was a
Mahomes is
shocker.
over Brady, even if like it's a close game and they lose. Mahomes is on pace to be better than Brady, and yeah, now
Yo,
like you said, it's like is Mahomes better than Joe Montana? It's like I don't know.
how awesome! How awesome was it though? Right? They actually had Tom Brady as the broadcaster. So Tom is the analyst, basically like, yeah, like this is the guy. Like this is the guy that like, oh my god,
You
I'm
know he was
waiting for
eating
him
that
to
up.
go
You know he was up there
roast.
like you think this guy's better than me? You think this guy out here is better than me?
Dude, like they couldn't have picked a better person to be the analyst for that specific game, right? And you know,
I
like,
agree.
oh, you know what they were really. I mean, obviously, like it's not like Fox only has two broadcast analysts, right? They were thinking, oh, we'll have Brady as the analyst for the night that Mahomes three-peats.
Exactly.
That didn't work.
Yeah.
That didn't
And like
work at
yeah, they
all.
like interviewed him after the game and whatnot. Yeah, no chance.
So, okay. Now, it's been a lot of moves in the offseason, right? I get this is, and actually, this just happened like officially today. Kellen Moore is the new head coach of the New Orleans Saints. So they're going to lose their offensive coordinator. Now, I guess I'm kind of like I'm wondering, right? So Rosen went out and got these coordinators after the collapse of that team the year before, and he just installed them, him, Vic Fangio, and Kellen Moore, and was like, "This is who you're going to work with." Basically, Nick Sirianni took them on and did great with that.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they'll, because Sirianni won, now he's off the hot seat, if they'll give him a little more autonomy again to go pick his own coordinator, or if Rosen kind of stays with the process and he's like, nah, I already got the replacement. I think they should, I forget the guy's name now, but I think they should just take like the quarterback coach or, one of those guys and promote him.
Promote him up. Yeah, I
Keep
could see that.
continuity.
I don't really. I mean, I'm sure there are guys. I can't think of anybody off the top of my head. I know Chip Kelly was at Ohio State, and people wanted him, but he went to the Raiders. And he's already been there. He was the head coach of the Eagles at one point. But I can't. I mean, I would just promote from within because why would you want to risk it?
Kind of an interesting fact. In the last 5, I think it is, or maybe it's 6 seasons, in total, this will be the 10th coordinator from college to NFL, right? This will be the 10th coordinator in the last 5 years that Jalen Hurts is going to have to, adjust to.
That's crazy because a lot of times you look at that and those quarterbacks are extremely unsuccessful. But I mean, Hurts is Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion, lost in the Super Bowl another time, but played amazing. Like, I feel like a lot of people kind of disrespect him when they talk about the good quarterbacks in the league. I mean, because you just don't think about him, but he's always there.
Well, so, right, somebody made a post today about this. Actually, I've seen a lot of posts about where he ranks in, say, the top 10 quarterbacks. Listen, I understand from like a talent perspective, right? Okay, so like if we're just talking talent-wise, yes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, and Joe Burrow are more talented than him.
Absolutely.
But like the guy is just an absolute like stalwart on the field. Like, he's a will-driven, just strong-minded dude, and he's nothing but a winner. You know what I mean? So, like, for me to say he's not top 5 at this point, especially after he just beat Mahomes, like,
only one of the crew to do it,
bro. And like, this is his second Super Bowl in 3 years. He outplayed Mahomes in both of them. He's had nothing but a winning record since he came to the NFL. He's a national champion from the collegiate years. Like,
he's not.
Where do you like?
It's not like he like lacks skills. He can throw it. Like the long ball he threw to Smith was a dot. Like he can run the ball clearly. He had over 70 yards rushing. He holds the Super Bowl record for most rushing yards by a quarterback. Like, I agree with you.
And that's my whole thing, right? Like, how many times do you need to see him thread the needle in the end zone to Devontae Smith, or on the sideline to AJ Brown? Like, how many times does he have to throw the pass before people? Because his team has a run-first identity, right? So he doesn't have to throw 35 passes a game. Does not mean, and now we've seen it very clearly, it does not mean he can't. It just means that he doesn't have to. He does, and that's why I like him. And to me, he is a top 5 quarterback. I mean, honestly, I would take him over pretty much everyone but Mahomes, if I'm being honest. That's just me, because I know that he can get the result.
One versus Mahomes, so I mean,
bro, that's what, like,
big game in the game that matters.
In the games that matter, the guy shows up, and like, okay, you've got this amazing talent in these other guys, right? What's Joe Burrow done for me lately? Right? Throws a million, he's got these amazing yards and all these stats, and his team loses. Like, at some point, great quarterbacks.
Like, he has to win. Like, I agree. I do think he's extremely talented, but I mean, you beat Mahomes one time and you made it to the Super Bowl. You lost the Super Bowl. That's fine. But since then, they've done nothing.
I mean, listen, right? Here's the thing that everyone says. Well, his defense. Matt Stafford's defense was ranked behind the Cincinnati Bengals defense this season. That's a fact. Matt Stafford went to the playoffs.
Matt Stafford almost beat the Eagles in Philly, too.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it just, like, I'm done with the excuses for these guys. Like, at the end of the day, my metric is very simple. The guy leads his team, right? And he does whatever he's not going out there to make 1,000,000 yards passing. He's not going out there to be fancy. If the tush push is what's needed, it's what's needed.
He's just a winner, and he's a great media personality, and he's a great leader. Like, the whole team respects him, the whole league respects him. He never has any problems, any scandals, like anything.
He's like, it's bro, my favorite quarterbacks. Remember, I'm a Giants fan. All of my favorite quarterbacks in the league are on other teams in our division. The only quarterbacks I like are Jalen Hurts and Jaden Daniels. I don't like anybody else. Oh, he's amazing. And this is the thing about, like, being a Giants fan. My belief is that we've been good enough in the past from, like, a management standpoint. Drew Lock greater than Joe Burrow. That's a wild take. You see that? But right, like, I believe in what this team has done in the past enough. Now, my concern is Joe Chain, our GM. But I feel like with where all of the teams are in the NFC East, like, I just feel like we're ready to step our game back up and get back in the mix. So, like, I'm not like scared. I'm never going to see a Giant Super Bowl again. I'd love to see it sooner than later.
Exactly. I got a question for you about the Giants. I'm sure you've seen it. The rumors that they might get Stafford and Kupp. What do you think about that?
I don't know, right? Like, so Stafford's good. Stafford is not taking less than his market value.
No, there's no reason for it.
Stafford's the kind of quarterback who commands like a $50+ million a year paycheck. That's a lot of money to put into a guy who's 35, 36 years old, even though he's playing very high-level football still. And here's the thing, right? Let's just say the Giants go get Stafford, right? He's going to work out for a year or two. And the low-key thought process is like Arch Manning one day, right? But then let's say, right? But then let's just say that doesn't work, right? Like, I don't think Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders are really a number 1 or 2 pick. But I do think that they're both going to be good, solid quarterbacks in the league. And I do think that, like, we need to make a move now, not later. Like,
I agree.
I would rather see us go get a young quarterback that we can develop in our own system, and go from there. Because Malik is only in his, he's only going into his second season. Terod Tracy, like we've got a young core. So I don't love the idea of Stafford unless he's coming in like where he's not going to eat up that much cap space. That's my whole thing, right? Like,
yeah, 100%. I get that. I think you guys, if you sign Stafford and like you said, he gives you a good year, or then he gets hurt halfway through the season, like it could put you in the same predicament that the Steelers are in right now in a way. Like they should clearly just move on with Justin Fields, but they are like for some reason stuck up on Russell Wilson, who's about to be 37, wasn't that great last year, and it's like that's just what they do. Like that's what they did with Big Ben. That's what they're doing now.
Listen, it's I'll be honest, like I don't know what the answer is yet, but and even though, like I just said, I'm not in love with either of these quarterback choices, I as a Giants fan, I basically demand you go out and spend a top 3 pick, do what you have to do and get one of them. Like Shedeur Sanders, he's not the best quarterback out there, but he's got great work ethic. He's the kind of guy he's going to improve the locker room. You know what I mean? Sam Darnold is a cult. We'll see, So like a Shedeur, I like that. And then, there's been a lot of chatter about how Cam Ward as a player just fits the dynamic of a Daboll system well. Yeah, I don't know.
I will say Cam Ward, I don't know. Like I did watch a fair amount of Miami games, and he just like is the most like nonchalant. Like it just looks effortless. Like he will be sitting back there, 4 dudes running at him, and he just like flicks his wrist, and it's like a 55-yard bomb. So, like,
he's got a cannon. That's a fact. Yeah, he does have a cannon. There's no question about that.
There were some things like throwing on the run across his body, back the other way. Like, I mean, that's just young quarterback stuff that is going to get fixed.
Well, and so that's right. Like, and to use a great example from this season, right? What the hell's this guy's name? Caleb Williams, right? Mm-hmm. The guy has a lot of talent. You know what I mean? But in his mind, he still wants to do these cross-body throws, hold the ball a little too long. He wants to do the stuff you can get away with in college that you can't get away with in the league, right?
Athletes are way too good.
Yeah. And, like, that's, if we get a guy like Cam Ward, and Cam can fall in line, take that QB coaching the right way and use it to accelerate his process to get better, to, and to change his game where it's necessary. Who knows? That could be our guy. You know what I mean? But I do, like, as a Giants fan, I would be very not excited if we got something other than a quarterback. Yeah.
I mean, I think you have to go QB, and if you don't go QB, you gotta like.
Right now, we basically don't have a quarterback.
Down because it's not like who are you gonna go pick up in free agency or trade for?
Dude, like I don't like right now. We basically don't have a quarterback.
What if they traded for like Fields? Would you be open to him?
I would like. I feel like Fields got a bad rap. He's got a tremendous amount of talent. He's got a strong arm. He's got great legs. I wouldn't be mad about that. So if we traded for Fields, right, but didn't lose that top 3 pick and then put that top 3 pick into like Abdul Carter, you know what I mean? Like there are two like in that top 5, there are 2, like as they call it, real generational talents in Carter and Hunter.
Yeah. I'm really hoping that Carter drops to 4. I'm really hoping. I don't think he's going to, but I really hope he does.
Dude, I mean, it just kind of depends on what happens, right? Like if somebody trades up into that top space with Tennessee, I don't know. Like, I feel like Tennessee's not ready to take one of these quarterbacks. They're just ready to take the best player on the board.
And I heard the other day, and my brother is a Titans fan, so he kind of like fills me in a little bit more because I don't follow the Titans a ton. But he's saying that they want to give Levis another year and use the pick on either trade it and get better all around because they're so bad at in a lot of places, or take like Hunter.
Well, I don't think you can go wrong with a Hunter, but they're the kind of team that's so bad. Like, okay, think Miles Garrett on the Browns, right? You have this tremendous talent and nothing else to work with him at the moment. So, like, they're the kind of team where, like, they could potentially go out and get somebody like Travis Hunter, and, like, he's going to do amazing for playing on his back foot all season, every season. But it's never like imagine Miles on a team who has a lead every game. Like he's tying sack numbers with teams that are good. He can't even rush. So, it would be a shame to see them get Travis Hunter. I hope they trade that pick. I would like to see them trade it to the Raiders. That would make me happy.
Shadur or Brady's a huge Shadur guy. He like has him in his camp and whatnot, like working out with him. If they Raiders do trade up, which the Raiders I guess could trade their pick, or I heard they want to get rid of Crosby. Maybe they could trade Crosby for the first pick.
Dude, I mean, like Crosby, get rid, do what you have to do, right? Maybe get rid of a couple things. Even if it was like, but if the Raiders could somehow have the first and the sixth pick, that would be wild. That would be out of control, right?
That would be huge for their. I mean, that'd be like the Dolphins when they got Tua back in the day, and then they had like the fifth pick. Like that would be huge for their franchise. They get 2 top 10 picks, but
we'll see what kind of magic Brady can work in the front office instead of on the field.
He would be the one doing it because the other dude doesn't know what he's doing.
Who, Spytech?
All right, real quick. This is just brief. I'm a Heat fan. I got a Heat game on the back. Heat were up on the Thunder 93 to 83. The Thunder have went on a 21-0 run, and the Heat are down 11 points.
Oh my God! You know what? Like, listen, I'll tell you what. I have a parlay going right now, and it's supposed to be a definite win kind of parlay. And I was about to lose because the Heat were beating the freaking OKC. So thank you for telling me that. And you know what? Like, it's that time of night anyway. We should be talking about basketball anyway, right? We got all year to talk football. So we'll see what happens. But you know what, dude? Okay, so obviously the Heat just got rid of their big piece, their guy. The Heat culture is essentially dead, right? What do you guys do next? What do you think the game plan is for a team like the Heat going forward?
You gotta just, I guess, continue to develop the young guys. I mean, we have a super young core now. I mean, Wiggins is only 26 or something like that. Hero's young, Bam's young, Mitchell's young. I mean, our starting 5, Ware's young. But it's gonna take a lot.
Okay, who do you think, like, out of the group of people you just named? Wow, I can't believe they're really down by 11. They haven't scored a point in the fourth quarter. What is going on? Okay, so out of the players you just named, right? Our one guy, our guy Showtime, big Harrow fan, right? I like Harrow. I think Harrow's got some moxie. I like watching him play. I think he stepped up huge for that team.
Absolutely.
In Jimmy Butler's absence and during that whole clusterfuck, if you will. Do you see him as a real number one?
I feel like it might be too early to tell. He's definitely took a huge leap. He went from 6-man to all-star. I mean, he's definitely playing well. I mean, 25 points a game, 6 and 5. Like, he's playing well, but it's going to be interesting to see. The end of the year will really tell us like how he closes out the year. I don't know. I mean, The right answer is no, because a number one doesn't let their team not score for 6 minutes straight. But I don't know. They're gonna have to trade for a superstar like they did with Jimmy the first time in 2020 when they got him from the Sixers, or 2019. But I just don't know who's going to be available.
It's it's kind of the landscape for like the superstar movement. It's kind of a tough thing to figure out right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I
I
don't think
somebody want to be traded, they're in on it. Like everybody's like, oh, Fox to the Heat, no. Dame to the Heat, no. KD to the Heat, no. It's like every time there's a big name, they're like, oh yeah, go play for the Heat, and like nothing happens.
it kind of like it surprises me a little bit because right, okay, so Pat Riley, Spolstra, right, Florida, like
No
the
taxes.
package, like that's why wouldn't you want to go to that team?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like that's a great state.
Like, a few teams like you got the Celtics, obviously. You got, I think the Knicks are really good this year. I know you're a big Knicks guy. I think the Knicks are really good. I think the Cavs are really good. They just traded for Hunter too at the break. Like outside of those three teams, the East is weak.
Yeah, it's kind of like this. They're in a bit of a tough position, I think, this season. Bro, the Knicks blew their lead too. End of the fourth quarter, 137 to 137 right now, going into overtime.
Who are they playing?
Playing the freaking Hawks. If there's one team I can't stand, it's the Hawks.
Trae Young sees the Knicks on the schedule. He just salivates.
Dude, it's a fact. Trae Young's got 34 points tonight.
He loves playing you guys.
It's very frustrating because I'm looking down at the bottom here and I see Keegan Wright. Never mind, Trae Young is the GOAT. And I'm like, Trae Young is the GOAT. What just happened? And then I click on it and I see this. Like, in my mind, the Knicks game was already wrapped up. Now we're going to overtime. I'm pissed.
Are you playing at home or are you on the road?
We're at home.
Oh, you'll be fine.
I hope.
I don't know, though. You guys play your guys a ton. I do think it's okay, but like you gotta get some bench production. Like
here's like, I feel like the Knicks come out, and this game specifically was very even. They've scored almost the same in every quarter, but the Knicks have a habit of losing the third quarter.
Yeah,
dude, and that's like, to me, that's like, you can't, if there's you can be ahead, but then all of a sudden you're going into the fourth quarter and you've got like a 3-point lead. A less than 10-point lead in the NBA is nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like
it's insane. I mean, the Heat were just up like earlier. I know it's the fourth quarter now, but earlier in the game they were up like 60 to 32. Doesn't even matter. It's like,
dude, there's some interesting games going on right now. Utah is beating the Lakers 64 to 56. Randy's probably losing his cool right now.
Is Luka playing?
Losing his cool right now. I don't know I got to see who's in on this game. Let's see who played in that first half. Hachimura, James, Hayes, Doncic, and Reeves is the starting five.
Yeah, they can't lose at the Utah Jazz.
You know what the thing is that what is going on? Okay, so it's not a huge number difference, but it looks like the Jazz are getting a little more production out of their 4 and 5 guy, and they're getting a little bit more off the bench. The bench has scored 11 points for
the Bigs are gonna kill the Lakers.
For the Lakers so far.
I think they still won the trade, and I mean the Mavs are bad off now that AD's out indefinitely. Gafford got hurt a couple of nights ago. They don't have a big that's healthy, so they look even stupider than they did when they traded in the first place. But
well, okay, so right, you're a basketball fan. You're also a big dude, right? So for those who don't know, my guy Austin here is 6'7". He's borderline AD size. Okay, right? Now, why is that important? When it comes to doing athletic things, tall, lankier dudes are a little more injury prone when it comes to running that court up and down all night. So it's not like something we didn't know about AD. For Nico Harrison and the Mavericks organization to present the health factor of Luka and then go get a guy like AD who plays one game and then he's hurt one game, who, right, back and forth. I mean,
yeah, and I will say, I know last year AD played like 70 games. This year he's been moderately healthy, but the years before that, he was out like 20, 30 games a season. So like, and even if he wasn't, even if he was a full-time healthy all the time, you don't trade a 25-year-old superstar of the league that just led your team to the finals for an aging big man just because you think it's a better fit and it's going to get you over the hump.
It's so crazy to me, right? You spent 5 years constructing this team around Luka, and now you're going to move him and say that somebody else in the world is a better fit on the team you built for him.
Yeah. Do you think Kyrie's going to be able to lead it better with AD? What?
And like, listen, no offense, Kyrie's an awesome player, but he's one of these guys. He's a perennial number 2 who has number 1 skill sets, right? But he's not been the leader.
Yeah. Couldn't do it at the Cavs. They got LeBron. He's the greatest number 2 of all time. And then, or besides Pippen, of course. And then you have it like with Luka. Luka was struggling versus the Wolves in the Western Conference Finals. Kyrie steps up, and then Luka takes back over. Like, but then they just trade Luka, and now they want Kyrie to run the ship. And it's like
terrible decision making by Nico Harrison. But here's the thing: I can't even just blame him. A move of that magnitude had to be cleared by not just the GM. Like, the ownership had to be like, yeah, that's cool. Like,
you would think.
It's very hard to understand.
I'm hoping down the road something comes out where like Luka was in disputes or something. If not, it doesn't make any sense.
Dude, right? Okay, so Luka's athletic, or not his scoring ability already, right? Now, let's just say this goes the way that it should go. This guy just lost over $100 million himself on that trade, right? But now he's with LeBron James and he's with the LA Lakers. If he takes this the right way, right, and he gets his health in check, so he's, I don't expect him to come out looking ripped up like LeBron, but at least that healthy, right? That healthy, yes. And he starts to work on his defense a little bit. He's 25. He's not even at his peak yet. He could be the greatest player ever.
Yeah, it's baffling that they would trade somebody 5 straight All-NBA teams, like let him to the finals, 35, 10, and 9 in the finals, in the playoffs. I'm like, I don't know.
It's literally, I don't know, man. To me, it's a shock. So I don't know if you saw what Keegan just wrote, but I'm going to click on this game real quick. So Giannis did not play tonight, and the Bucks beat the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Yeah, Giannis is out until after the All-Star break. I knew that, but it's shocking they beat the Wolves. The Wolves are streaky. They only have Ant. They should not have traded Cat.
Well, you know what? Listen, I'll tell you what the difference in the game was, because I'm looking at the box score right now. Okay, the bench for the Milwaukee Bucks scored 49 points. The bench for the Minnesota Timberwolves scored 15 points.
Yep, that'll definitely do it.
So without their superstar, just the bench stepping up and doing what they had to do. And this is why a bench is so important, This is what scares me about being a Knicks fan, right? I feel like our starting five can be nasty, but what happens when one of those guys is off, right? Like if Cat's not in the game and it's Jericho Sims, like I'm not excited.
Are you guys going to get Robinson back for the playoffs? I heard like he was trending in the right direction. Is that going to?
Oh, I hope so. The two big man set with Robinson and Cat on the floor together. Oh, we'll be ruthless in the playoffs.
That could look nice because then.
Listen. We're every Knicks fan out there. They're like, I don't know a Knicks fan who doesn't love Mitch Robinson. Everyone's praying that this works out and that he makes it back for the playoffs. We're gonna see what happens. You know, the Knicks. I think the Knicks are now losing this game. If I'm not lying, I hope they're not, but I think they are. Let's see here. Where's the score of the Knicks game? The Knicks are down by 2 right now with 3:34 left in overtime.
I don't even want to tell. Like, can you just tell me how many points the Heat have in the quarter? They're about to lose. Did they score 10 points?
I don't think so. Hold on, let me see right here. Gamecast. Oh, they scored 8 points in the fourth quarter. That's it. Game's over. How do you score 8? Well, okay. Okay, so like, what do you even say to that, right? Like, what?
You can't say anything, and that's why, like I love the young core. I love the team, but that just proves to me that yes, he's taken a huge step, but Tyler Hero is not a superstar because there's no other team in the league that has these scoring droughts.
Dude, 8 points, right?
We scored 7 in the fourth quarter.
That's so hectic. Like
we lost to Boston. We scored 7 in the fourth quarter or 12 or something. I'm like,
and it looks like let's get the box score up here. Hero had 14. Davion Mitchell had 14. Wiggins only had 13. Adebayo is the only reason they look like they were in the game because he put up 27.
13 in the first quarter.
Yeah, I mean, and that's huge. A guy like that is pretty huge, but yeah, no, they have good pieces, but they definitely need to go get like a superstar. You know, I mean, it doesn't have to be a KD, but you need like.
That's the thing. I saw a report. I mean, that's just reporting. They always just say whatever they want to say to get clicks, and I'm the one that's like clicking on it. But
me too.
It said KD potentially be traded this summer, and it's like he's 36, but at the same time, it's like we need somebody like that on the team that can just like take over when nobody can score and go for 10 straight and calm us down. We don't have that.
Dude, listen, you know, the biggest takeaway for me from that game is, I guess, OKC, like, if you don't have a superstar stepping up, you're not going to get through OKC, right? Going into the playoffs and later, because they were down. And what did they do? I guess they went back, called a timeout. Listen, we got to put this defense together, you know, and they just shut them down.
We had 62 at half, or 65. It was 65-52 at half. So we had not even 40, 37 points in the second half, and we scored 35 points in the first quarter.
Sound like the Bulls.
It's like, what are you doing?
That's so hectic. Like, I don't know, man. That's pretty bad. That is pretty. So obviously, we're not going to have to worry about them in the playoffs, which is a good thing, I think.
Yeah, they're going to be that scrappy 8 seed that loses in 4 games.
Dallas is working over Golden State right now. It's 36-48, Dallas. Which I'm a little surprised by.
Is Jimmy playing in tonight?
He's supposed to be. I got a prop bet on him. So I hope he is. Dude, so Cleveland won 131-108. Milwaukee pulled it out 103-101 without Giannis. Sacramento pulled off another game. Sacramento's about they're in for literally the former Cavs are cooking the Knicks. Oh, go ahead, bro. So the biggest rude awakening in the history of basketball is going to come in Sacramento if they don't make some real moves, because you went out and you basically put back together that Bulls team from a couple of years ago who couldn't do it. Right? So, like, let's just say they make the play-in. Let's just say they do get into the playoffs.
I think they will get in play-in.
Right? Say they make it to the playoffs. They're one and done. Nobody's taking Levine and DeRozan seriously. We've seen what you guys could do in your prime together already.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get some of the things I see. I fully understand the Spurs going after De'Aaron Fox. That was a great move on their part.
Not only this year, but like for future years.
Dude, it doesn't make sense to me. A lot of the stuff I'm seeing. I feel like Sacramento, what they actually need to do is they need to go into a full tank and like, okay, so here's what we know about the NBA. You either have to be really good or really bad in order to advance your team. When you sit in that mid-range, you can't get players.
The mediocre teams are like the Hawks. Nobody wants to go play with Trae Young, even though Trae Young is amazing. Nobody wants to go to Atlanta and play with him.
Dude, somebody when Bogdan Bogdanovic got shipped over to the Clippers. I was like, oh, that's awesome. Like, I'd love to see this guy play with Harden. He's a great player. But I couldn't stand watching him on the court with Trae Young. I can't stand Trae Young. But I'm a Knicks fan. I'm supposed to hate that guy.
No, that's fair. I mean, what he did in the Garden was
wild. Dude, it shocks me. But he's like, I don't know why. Certain play, okay, like, think back to like Reggie Miller days, right? Certain players are just team killers, right? And like whenever I see the Hawks on the schedule, I'm like, oh.
I feel like even though the Knicks are clearly a better team than the Hawks, if the Hawks somehow got the 7th seed, I feel like the Knicks would be like, fuck, for that first.
Oh, dude, I would be so like, I would be scared to play them. That's that team. Like, I feel like the Knicks just weren't ready all the way for Indiana last year. But I feel like if we play Indiana healthy in a 7-game series this year, we're going to work them.
I don't think Indiana.
Now, talk about Atlanta. If Atlanta sneaks in there, I'm like, oh, fucking somebody get this team out of here. Like, I can't. Oh, they're one of those teams I get soon as I see them on the schedule, I'm like, oh no, not these guys. Like, I have no comfort when I watch that team.
No, I'm the same. That's how I feel like about the Celtics. Even when they're not playing the Heat, I just cannot stand them. I know they're a great team. They're amazing, clearly, but
it's a little, I mean, I guess it's not surprising, I guess isn't the right word, but when I look at Trae Young, I don't see the stud that he is on the court. I'm like, look at this little shit jerk. Like, he looks like a jerk.
And when he just lets it go, like his hair's out and his beard's straggly and like patchy, he just looks like he's homeless.
Dude, he's got a great deep ball, and he's a nag on defense too. Like, he can be an annoying player.
You have to guard him as soon as he crosses half court. He can just pull up.
Which, like, I hate, and I love and hate how basketball has kind of gone in that direction. I could be wrong about this, but like, this is why I think that like Curry is one of the greatest players of all time, because it's not just about how good of a shooter he is and a winner he is. In my mind, this game of basketball developed when he came into the league and took over.
Absolutely. Yeah, when he in the early 2010s, when he started coming off screens at the half court line, throwing up 40-footers and draining them, teams are like, he's not going to be able to do that forever. And now he leads the league in threes, and he's like won a bunch of finals. Like,
dude, I remember watching that guy in the March Madness, and I was like,
he was tough.
I was like, okay, this guy's going to be tough. But I had no, like, nothing in my brain was projecting him into like the realm of the greatest players ever to play the game.
No, and when he went to the Warriors, like they were always just kind of like how the Blazers are now. Like they were just kind of
You can close that door.
middle of the
Sorry.
pack, like, and they just had like guys, but they could never get over the hump. But like he went there, they drafted Draymond Green not long after, drafted Clay, and then they just took off.
Dude, okay, so the other day I posted something on X about that team, and it was a picture. I think I just reposted. It was a Golden State picture with Jimmy, Draymond, and Curry. And some guy replied, he was like, the heck with Draymond Green. We don't need him. I want it to be like, yo, bro, you don't have 4 championships without Draymond Green. Like, when your team was at its prime, he was the #1 defender in the game, period. Like,
yeah, and I still think to this day, if he doesn't get suspended in that 16 finals, the Cavs don't come back, and they have 5.
Dude, I couldn't believe, and I looked at where the guy was from, and I was like, San Francisco. I was like, there's no way. Are you like, how could you be from there? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
He's a hater.
Dude, that's just a pure hater. Like, there was no other way you could say it. I was like, what do you mean? Like, to me, that's crazy talk. By the way, the Knicks, okay, we're up by 1 point with 24 seconds left. This is probably the scariest place to be with this little jerk running around the court. Like, anything below 3 points, and I'm nervous because I know that Trey can literally just, I call him Ashtray. Ashtray could just shoot it up from anywhere. And boom, just ruined my whole day. What did he say? JB Bickerstaff is not that good of a coach. Okay. Packers versus Bears type ownership by the Hawks.
I mean, JB Bickerstaff.
Yo, Keegan, you like Keegan. Keegan's like my he gives me extra thought processes when I'm going through this here. He stays in tune. I love it. I don't even know what to say to that. But look, okay, I just came back, and now the Knicks are losing. And there's still 24 seconds on the clock, but now we're down by 1 instead of being up by 1. Like, no, thank you. I don't need this. I don't.
Bickerstaff actually is an okay coach.
Wait, is this true? Hold on. Did you just see what he wrote? Is that real? Alex Bregman is a Red Sox?
How much he wanted to get paid, so they had to pay him.
Hold on, I'm Googling it right now.
I saw that the Padres signed Nick Pivetta today.
Alex Bregman to the Red Sox, $120 million, 3 years, 2 opt-outs.
Baseball money is crazy.
Wow, dude, baseball money is crazy. They're like, whatever, dude. We'll give you $250 million tomorrow. Just come play baseball. We don't care. And we're going to go. Listen, Keegan, I know you've been dying to get into the baseball stuff. Starting next week, we are going to jump into that way heavier. No question about it. But that's crazy. Like, Bregman just got $40 million a year with opt-outs if he wants. Like,
yeah, I mean, and I guess he's going to – what are they going to do with Devers? Play him at first?
I don't know. That's a great. Hold on, I'm going to ESPN's MLB real quick because I need to see what's going on here. This is like, you just took me away from the game real quick because now I need to know what's happening. Oh my God, baseball is honestly insane.
No, I think it's probably the hardest sport in my opinion.
You know, here's the thing with baseball. The hand-eye coordination, obviously, is a whole different level. But then, like, the other side of it, like, these guys are standing still. You know what I mean? And just break into a, like, you're not moving constantly. Your body cools down, gets hot. Like, that is not easy to do. Running a ball down in center field is out of control.
Yeah, when it's 120 exit velocity.
Oh, yeah, when it's going that fast. It's like, dude, I can't believe that just happened. Like, and he's like, I'm a Yankees fan. Like, Bregman's good. It does not help my team at all having him go to the Red Sox. Oh,
no, but I'm also a Yankees fan, so I don't think that's going to really deter anything.
I'll be honest. I think that the Yankees are going back to the World Series, and I'm not saying that because I'm a Yankees fan. I'm saying that because I think the team is actually that good.
Yeah, I know we lose Soto, but
listen.
I'm with you. I feel like we're
okay, if this was like the early 2000s or the 90s, we wouldn't even be talking about how we lost a 279 batter. Like,
exactly.
If Aaron Judge had Soto's numbers, he would get booed off the field. Don't get me wrong, Soto's awesome, but a 15-year contract for almost $1 billion that's going to turn him into a DH one day, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, the Mets might be good though this year. They got Alonso back the other day. I saw that they signed him like a 2-year.
Alonso, Soto, Lindor. I mean, they got a good little core of that team. Their problem is that,
throws 6 pitchers.
like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but all roads in the NL go through LA.
No, yeah, sadly they're in the NL, and I don't think anybody's beating LA.
And that's like the biggest thing. Like, I look at the AL and I'm like, oh, we can get through the AL. I know we can get through the AL. We just did it, but we can do it again.
There's a few teams that are there. I mean, the Guardians are going to be good again.
The Knicks won. Let's go. Let's go.
I love it.
149, 148. Let's go. I needed that. That was huge. But yeah, so listen, I don't know. You know what? If you're available next week, and you want to hop on, we're gonna jump into because it's about that time of night over here. But we are gonna jump into baseball kicking off next week. I know that a lot of the people that watch the show and watch any of the We Like Sports Network stuff are huge baseball heads. And it's that time of year. Pitchers and catchers are reporting, so we are ready to get into that next week. So if you're down, we'd love to have you back. Guys, it is 7:40, which means it is my daughter's bedtime. That is right. I'm a dad. So that's all we got this week on Vinny's Corner. He's a dad too. I point the wrong way every time, right? But
you're pointing that way. You're pointing that way.
That's a fact. I gotta point the wrong way to go the right way. But thank you for showing up tonight, Austin. It was great having you on here. Keegan, you got too many questions for tonight, brother. We're gonna get back to this next week. But hit me on X. You guys know at Vin Quesada 1. Same spelling as you can see there on the bottom. And you can actually see Austin's @ is on the bottom for his X. Austin's a great follow, another big sports guy in the same communities as me. Check in with us, guys. It was great having you here at Vinny's Corner. Thanks.
See you next week, man.